All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Sunil Verma. The headlines. India tells Taliban Afghanistan's soil should not be used for anti-India activities and terrorism in any manner. US President Joe Biden says Washington will continue its fight against terrorism in Afghanistan and other countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and European Council President Charles Michel discussed recent developments in Afghanistan and their implications in the region and world. Various states and union territories including Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Meghalaya to reopen schools from today with COVID safety protocols. India achieves yet another milestone in COVID vaccination. More than 1 crore 9 lakh doses administered in a single day yesterday. Vaccination coverage crosses 65 crore mark. Himachal Pradesh becomes first state to administer first dose of COVID vaccine to 100% of its eligible population. India's GDP growth surges 20.1% during first quarter of current fiscal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to release commemorative coin on ISKCON founder Swami Prabhupada today. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings to its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in Morning News at 8:30 a.m. since 16th of August and will continue till 15th of August 2022. India Post has joined hands as the logistics partner with All India Radio News for the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Recalling our yesterday's question, who led the Rampa Rebellion of 1922 against the British? The correct answer is Alluri Sitaram Raju, a revolutionary from Andhra Pradesh. This was in protest of the 1882 Madras Forest Act, which restricted the free movement of tribal people in the forest area. The rebellion continued till 1924 when he was shot dead by the British forces. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Bhagya Nanjindaswamy from Chikmagalur in Karnataka. Ms. Bhagya Nanjindaswamy said she was elated to hear the news of her winning the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav quiz.
Myself, Bhagya Nanjindaswamy from Chikmagalur district, Karnataka. I was elated to hear that I am the winner of the quiz Amrit Mahotsav. I am a regular listener of All India Radio. My family and me have learnt a lot from this program. I am proud to say that many of the freedom fighters are from Karnataka. I am so excited to be a part of Amrit Mahotsav quiz.
Congratulations to Ms. Bhagya from entire team of AIR News. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with listeners on Monday, that is 6th of September. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav quiz with AIR News.
The Ambassador of India to Qatar, Deepak Mittal, has met Sher Mohammad Abbas Stanekzai, the head of Taliban's political office in Doha. The meeting took place at the Embassy of India in Doha on the request of the Taliban side. The Ministry of External Affairs said that the discussions focused on the safety, security and early return of Indian nationals stranded in Afghanistan. It said, the travel of Afghan nationals, especially minorities, who wish to visit India also came up. Ambassador Deepak Mittal raised India's concern that Afghanistan soil should not be used for anti-Indian activities and terrorism in any manner. The Taliban representative assured the ambassador that these issues would be addressed positively. US President Joe Biden has warned the Islamic State Khorasan ISIS-K that America is not done with the terrorist group. In his address to the nation, he said the US will hunt down those who wish to harm America. Biden's address comes a day after the last American military planes left Afghanistan. The US president said Washington will continue its fight against terrorism in Afghanistan and other countries.
We will maintain the fight against terrorism in Afghanistan and other countries. We just don't need to fight a ground war to do it. We have what's called over-the-horizon capabilities, which means we can strike terrorists and targets without American boots on the ground, or very few if needed. We've shown that capacity just in the last week. We struck ISIS-K remotely, days after they murdered 13 of our service members, dozens of innocent Afghans. And to ISIS-K, we are not done with you yet.
The United States forces left Afghanistan on Tuesday morning, marking the end of a chaotic and messy exit from America's longest war. Biden said American service members performed their duty despite a dangerous and ultimately deadly environment in the war-torn country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has constituted a high-level group comprising the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and senior officials in view of the evolving situation in Afghanistan. Sources say this group has been meeting regularly over the last few days. The group is seized of issues pertaining to safe return of stranded Indians and travel of Afghans, especially minorities, to India. The group also has to focus on Afghan territory not being used in any manner for terrorism directed against India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to President of the European Council, Charles Michel, yesterday evening. The leaders discussed the recent developments in Afghanistan and the implications for the region and the world. They unequivocally condemned the horrific terror attack at the Kabul International Airport that resulted in many casualties. They emphasized the importance of a stable and secure Afghanistan and discussed the potential role India and the European Union could play in this context. The two leaders agreed to remain in touch on bilateral and global issues, in particular the situation in Afghanistan.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will release a special commemorative coin of 125 rupees and address the gathering on the occasion of the 125th birth anniversary of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji today through video conferencing. Union Culture Minister G. Kishan Reddy will be present on the occasion. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada founded the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, commonly known as the Hare Krishna movement. ISKCON has translated Srimad Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature in 89 languages, playing a stellar role in disseminating of Vedic literature across the world. Many state governments and union territories will reopen schools and educational institutions from today as COVID-19 cases are declining. These include Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Meghalaya. All schools for classes 1 to 5 in Uttar Pradesh will open today, keeping in mind the necessary COVID norms. Guidelines in this regard have already been issued to all district basic education officers in the state. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
School administration will be responsible for the strict adherence of the COVID guidelines. At the entry gate of every school, thermal screening of children will be done to check for COVID symptoms. Sanitizers will be arranged in classrooms and teaching will be conducted in 2 shifts. However, it is mandatory for students to get the permission of their parents for attending physical classes. Children who do not wish to attend offline classes will be allowed to join classes online. Schools in the state had already opened for classes from 9 to 12 from August 16 and for classes 6 to 8 for studies from August 23. However, attendance for students has not been made compulsory. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Madhya Pradesh, all schools including government and private schools are being opened from today with 50% capacity. We have more from our Bhopal correspondent.
All government and non-government schools are being opened for the students of class 6 to 12 from today with 50% attendance. The decision on resumption of classes for standard 1st to 5th will be taken on the basis of the situation after a week. Parents' consent and strict adherence to the COVID-19 guidelines has been made mandatory. Vaccination of all teaching and non-teaching staff is also essential. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has appealed to all the students and parents to ensure COVID-appropriate behavior. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Delhi schools, colleges and coaching centres will be reopened in a phased manner from today. Delhi Disaster Management Authority has directed the classes to function at 50% capacity to maintain social distancing. Schools will reopen for classes 9 to 12 from tomorrow, while those for standard 6 to 8 are expected to restart from 8th September. Our correspondent reports that Delhi government has issued Standard Operating Procedure, SOP, for reopening of schools. In the morning and evening shifts, there will be a gap of at least 1 hour between the two shifts.
No student will be forced to attend the school and consent of parents is mandatory. Students, teachers and employees living in containment zones will not be allowed to come. Delhi government has directed to follow staggered timings to avoid crowding in the classrooms, during lunch breaks and at the main entrance gate. Heads of school and institutes have been advised to regularly sanitize classrooms, common areas and entry gates. Children have been asked not to share their food, books and other stationery items. According to Delhi government, 98% of teachers and staff in government schools have received their first dose of COVID vaccine. With Devendra Kumar, Akash Sinha, AIR News, Delhi.
Schools for classes 9 to 12 are going to open from today in Rajasthan. Minister of State for Education, Gobind Singh Dotasera, informed in a tweet yesterday. The Education Department has already issued SOPs for schools. India administered another 1 crore COVID-19 vaccines yesterday. For the second time, India has crossed 1 crore vaccinations in a single day. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said the highest one-day record of 1.09 crore vaccine doses was achieved till 6 p.m. yesterday and is still counting. He said, under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India is fighting strongly against COVID. Mr. Mandavia congratulated people for the achievement. He also applauded the hard work of COVID warriors and diligence of citizens in helping achieve this momentous feat of more than 50 crore cumulative administrations of the first dose of the vaccine. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has also consequently crossed the 65 crore landmark milestone yesterday. Himachal Pradesh has achieved a unique distinction of achieving 100% target of first dose of COVID-19 vaccination above the age of 18 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the state government and has agreed to virtually address the people of the state on 6th of September. He will also interact with few frontline workers who have done exceptional work in achieving this target. While presiding over a video conferencing meeting with deputy commissioners, superintendents of police, chief medical officers and other senior officers of the state from Shimla yesterday, Chief Minister Jairam Thakur said that health workers would also interact with the Prime Minister and share their views regarding making this vaccination campaign a success. The Chief Minister directed the officers that adequate arrangements should be made for sitting of general public at the venue where the event would be screened. The gross domestic product GDP of the country surged 20.1% in the April-June quarter of the current fiscal. According to the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation data released yesterday, this is its best ever fiscal quarter numbers. GDP in the first quarter of 2021-22 is estimated at 32.38 lakh crore rupees at constant prices of 2011-12 as against 26.95 lakh crore rupees in the same period of the last fiscal, showing a growth of 20.1%.
The Chief Economic Advisor, Krishnamurthy Subramanian, has said that the GDP data for the first quarter reaffirms government's prediction of an imminent V-shaped recovery made last year. Briefing media last evening, Mr. Subramanian said the banking sector has now developed cushion to withstand impending bad loans. He said inflation is expected to be in the 5 to 6% range going forward.
If you look at the components of the GDP, industry has witnessed a sharp rebound followed by services. In particular, the gross fixed capital formation has actually increased significantly, in terms of the different components of GDP. As for the second wave, as we've mentioned earlier as well, while the health impact of the second wave was significant, the economic impact has not been as large. There has been impact in the services sector, but much less on industry, with manufacturing growing at 49.6% in this quarter compared to last year.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India tells Taliban Afghanistan's soil should not be used for anti-India activities and terrorism in any manner. US President Joe Biden says Washington will continue its fight against terrorism in Afghanistan and other countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and European Council President Charles Michel discuss recent developments in Afghanistan and their implications for the region and world. Various states and union territories, including Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Meghalaya, to reopen schools from today with COVID safety protocols. India achieves yet another milestone in COVID vaccination. More than 1 crore 9 lakh doses administered in a single day yesterday. Vaccination coverage crosses 65 crore mark. Himachal Pradesh becomes first state to administer first dose of COVID vaccine to 100% of its eligible population. India's GDP growth surges 20.1% during first quarter of current fiscal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to release commemorative coin on ISKCON founder Swami Prabhupada today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
भारत के स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में अनगिनत स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों ने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी। कुछ इतिहास में अमर हो गए और कई गुमनाम। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के अंतर्गत 75 कड़ियों की श्रृंखला में हम उन वीरांगनाओं की बात करेंगे जिनका योगदान कभी भुलाया नहीं जा सकता। प्रत्येक मंगलवार परिक्रमा में सुनिए अपराजिता, देश की वीरांगनाओं को आकाशवाणी का सादर नमन।
Welcome back. You're listening to the morning news. As part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the Union Ministry of Women and Child Development has decided to celebrate the Poshan Maha across the nation throughout the month of September, starting today. To ensure speedy and intensive outreach, the entire month has been subdivided into weekly themes for focused and assimilated approach towards improving holistic nutrition. The Ministry of Women and Child Development has planned a series of activities throughout the month in tandem with the states and union territories. Our correspondent reports that the Prime Minister's overarching scheme for holistic nutrition, Poshan Abhiyan, is Government of India's flagship program to improve nutritional outcomes for children, adolescent girls, pregnant women and lactating mothers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had launched the program from Jhunjhunu in Rajasthan on 8th of March 2018. Focusing on the aims of Poshan Abhiyan, the government has announced Mission Poshan 2.0 in the budget 2021-22. It is an integrated nutrition support program to strengthen nutritional content, delivery, outreach and outcomes with focus on developing practices that nurture health, wellness and immunity to disease and malnutrition.
During the Poshan Maah, the activities will broadly focus on plantation drive for Poshan Vatika by all the stakeholders in the space available at Anganwadi, school premises, Gram Panchayats and other places. Plantation activity will focus on planting of saplings of nutritious fruit trees, local vegetables, medicinal plants and herbs. Besides, an awareness drive for COVID-19 vaccination and observance of COVID-19 protocols will also be held. There will also be a special drive for height and weight measurement for children under 6 years of age during the Poshan Maah. In order to ensure community mobilization and bolster people's participation, every year the month of September is celebrated as Poshan Maah across the country. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar every day with All India Radio from Monday the 16th of August. As part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, News Services Division of All India Radio brings to you the story of glorious struggle and sacrifices of freedom fighters on 100.1 FM Gold channel in the English news bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Stay tuned.
And now, let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव। Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest movements the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of legendary Tamil fighter Pulidevan, who was born on this day in 1715. He was one of the first Indians to resist the British imperialism in the country. He was one of the 77 polygars, or the local chieftains in the Tamil region, during the time with him wielding the power in the locality of Nelkattum Sevval of the present-day Tirunelveli district of Tamil Nadu.
The system of governance through the Palayans had evolved after the breakup of the once powerful Vijayanagara Empire of South India in the late 16th century. These Nayaks and polygars did not recognize the authority of the Mughal vassal, Nawab of Arcot, and ruled their domains autonomously. When the East India Company gained the taxation rights from the Nawab, the polygars refused to accept British authority, which led to, in British terminology, Polygar Rebellion.
The prolonged war with many fierce battles went on for nearly half a century, wherein the Tamil forces matched the superior weaponry and manpower of the enemy by their courage. The first of a galaxy of brave polygars who waged war against the British over that period was Pulidevan. Puli first met British forces in 1755 when British Colonel Alexander Heron marched onto western Tamil region. British artillery proved ineffective against the thick stone walls of Puli's fort at Nelkattum Sevval.
Strategically, Pulidevan also planted spies in the English camp, who gave him constant updates and helped him foil all attacks by the British. Pulidevan's reputation skyrocketed for his heroic defense of his fort, and all the western polygars rallied under his leadership and formed a confederacy to wage war against the foreign rule. Puli used his exceptional diplomatic skills to forge an allegiance with the Maharaja of the neighbouring kingdom of Travancore. In the next 6 years, Puli effectively fought off the British forces, stunning the tide of imposition of colonialism in the region.
However, through the shrewd diplomacy of new renter appointed by the British, the alliance between polygars and Travancore was broken. The British renter Yusuf Khan hailed from the same region and was born Marutha Nayagam Pillai and had converted to escape discrimination. While Khan was able to successfully contain the defiant polygars, he himself revolted against the British and later led a historic struggle against them. However, as Yusuf consolidated his power in the region, many polygars also joined him, and Pulidevan lost his holdings one after another.
Later, Yusuf Khan successfully won over the Maharaja of Travancore and Pulidevan found himself pitted against the overwhelming strong combined armies of Yusuf and Travancore. His gallant resistance came to an end in his own home turf, Nilkattum Sevval. In spite of the failure of his epic struggle, Pulidevan remains a much revered hero of the Tamil Nadu, especially among the people of Tirunelveli and adjoining regions.
The Pulidevan Palace in Tirunelveli, which was his headquarters, is a national monument today. A statue of his adorns Nilkattum Sevval, where he was born and fought his last battle. The people of Tirunelveli commemorate his birth anniversary every year with absolute devotion. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Moderate to heavy rain today lashed many parts of the national capital region. The Met Department has predicted that thunderstorm with moderate to heavy intensity rain would occur over an adjoining area of most places of Delhi and NCR. Yesterday also, Delhi had witnessed heavy rain in several parts, which caused traffic jams and waterlogging.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with heavy rains. The temperature will hover between 25 and 29 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Temperature will hover between 23 and 30 degrees Celsius. Chennai is likely to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Temperature will vary between 25 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The temperature will hover between 28 and 33 degrees Celsius. Hyderabad is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The temperature will hover between 22 and 29 degrees Celsius. Bengaluru is expected to witness a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Jammu will have a partly cloudy sky. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky. Guwahati may have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Temperature will hover between 25 and 32 degrees Celsius. Imphal is likely to have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Temperature will hover between 21 and 28 degrees Celsius, while Shillong may have a cloudy sky with moderate rain today. Temperature will hover between 18 and 23 degrees Celsius. Aizawl is also predicted to have a generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature was 18, while maximum will be nearly 27 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. All dailies have widely covered the complete withdrawal of US forces from Afghan soil and India administering the highest number of vaccination in a day. Hindustan Times headlines, no more US boots on ground in Afghanistan, while the Times of India reports 20 years and $2.3 trillion later, America's longest war ends as last troops leave 1 minute before deadline. Papers have also noted India's meet with Taliban. The Times of India informs Indian envoy meets key Taliban leader in Qatar, adding, meeting held at Afghan outfit's request, says government. The Asian Age has covered Taliban's reassurance to India won't allow anti-India terror from Afghan soil, Taliban assures it, Delhi. Record 1.28 COVID shots administered on Tuesday, writes The Pioneer. Hindustan Times headlines, August, best month for India's jab drive. In some positive news on the economic front, GDP shows signs of recovery. The Hindu reports economy grows 20.1% in Q1, lags pre-pandemic level. And finally, India continues to shine at the Paralympics. The Hindu writes, triple delight for India at Tokyo Paralympics. Mariyappan clinches silver in high jump.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India tells Taliban Afghanistan soil should not be used for anti-India activities and terrorism in any manner. US President Joe Biden says Washington will continue its fight against terrorism in Afghanistan and other countries. Prime Minister Modi and European Council President Charles Michel discussed recent developments in Afghanistan and their implications for the region and world. Various states and UTs including Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Meghalaya to reopen schools from today with COVID safety protocols. India achieves yet another COVID milestone in COVID vaccination. More than 1.9 crore doses administered in a single day yesterday. Vaccination coverage crossed the 65 crore mark. Himachal Pradesh becomes first state to administer first dose of COVID vaccine to 100% of its eligible population. India's GDP growth surges 20.1% during first quarter of current fiscal. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi to release commemorative coin on ISKCON founder Swami Prabhupada today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a great day.